Hey guys, welcome back in today's video. Sorry for no video. But yeah, in today's video, we're taking a look at a scenario where it is officially Alternate World Future, Episode 1. You guys have been waiting for this. Now, if you didn't see the trailer, go watch that before you look at this episode. There have been a few changes to the map, as I needed to make the map look better. And in my head, I was like, wait, this needs to be changed. But yeah, let's go and take a first deep dive into each of the continents. Over here, in North America, there are some noticeable changes. Over here, the Central American Union was formed after the Chinese made many invasions over here. These guys united with the help of Mexico to go ahead and, have a better military strength. Over here, Panama and Costa Rica were also united to give them a better economy, a larger population, which is now like 13 million here. And yeah, just overall to make them stronger. Over here, in the war, in World War III at least, by the way, I did forget to say, as if you didn't see the trailer, World War III happened in 2026, and we are in the year 2042. Kind of like Ada's Pros. I wanted to make it a little bit like his, but not that much. Over here, Cuba was annexed by America in World War III. And yeah, there's not that much other changes within North America. Now, European powers did give up such colonies. Over here, the Cayman Islands were given over to the US. The Turks and Caicos were given over to the Bahamas. The British Virgin Islands were integrated into the Puerto Rico territory of the United States, which is officially a state of the United States. So, yes, the United States map has changed, as Cuba is a state, which means so far there are 52 stars. Guam was also admitted as a state, which means there's 53. But there won't be that much soon. Over here, this territory of like Anguilla is what I think this one is. This was integrated into St. Kitts and Nevis. Montserrat was integrated into Antigua and Barbuda. Guadeloupe and this is Montonique. I almost said Montserrat. But yeah, those two territories stayed a part of France. Dominica still independent, and yeah, the rest of the Caribbean. If we look at South America, nothing in the south changed other than Argentina gaining the Faroe Islands. No, this is the Falklands, not the Faroe. I'm stupid, bro. I'm just kidding. They sound alike. Over here, these were able to stay part of the United Kingdom. But over here, if we take a look here, after World War III, Colombia annexed all of this territory over here. Brazil annexed this state. A new Guyana state formed over here, known as New Venezuela. Amapa became a new nation. I did not play as a capital. And over here, this territory was annexed by the United States. So there are now 4 independent Guianas. This French Guiana was a part of France still. Now we come over here. During the war, Denmark was invaded by the Russians, mainly just to block off trade and stuff over here. And the United States Canada gained occupation of Greenland. Canada was invaded by China over here for a small portion of the war, which was then given over to the occupation of the United States. And the United States kind of just kept it, which makes Greenland a new state at 54 stars. The United States became huge after the war. Now we come over here to Europe. Over here, Catalonia became independent. As we also see over here, the Isle of Man was given over to Ireland. Yeah. And now we do see the Netherlands gain some land from the ocean as working together with the British and the Germans, which at the time had all of Germany. It was working together to drain the North Sea. But over here, we see a noticeable difference. Germany is split into 2. Germany broke out into a civil war, which we'll have a deeper dive into a next episode. But over here, no noticeable changes, except for Belarus. Belarus was divided over here in the war. Also, NATO kind of exists, just at a much smaller state. And over here, during the war, Ukraine also gained a lot of territory over here from the Russians. Now over here, we did see Azerbaijan annexed all of Armenia. And over here, Dagestan, Chechnya, no idea what that state's called. Krasnodar, I think. And just Northern Caucasian state. They all became independent as they wanted to punish Russia, so they got rid of their oil. South oil reserves. Now we take a look at Africa. In the war, Morocco fully and everyone now recognizes this as their borders. Over here, the Guineas united for better protection during the war. Over here, Liberia, during the war, Sierra Leone had a government switch, joined on the side of China, and Liberia annexed them. Over here, Ghana did the same. Togo joined on China's side, and Ghana annexed Togo. Over here, Nigeria. They're bigger. They annexed these areas from Cameroon in the World War III, and Benin was also annexed by Nigeria. Now we come down here to South Africa. Lesotho and Eswatini are gone. Now, if you're wondering why, this is because these guys decided to go ahead and unite as for better protection, and these two just could not sustain themselves anymore. The East African Federation also formed. These guys formed and tried to help out the DRC during a civil war, and a dictatorial regime took over, which wasn't able to unite them with these guys. Somaliland also gained their independence. Now we can take a look over here to Asia. Starting in the Middle East, Israel, after winning the war, did annex Palestine. Over here, Iran is now just back to Persia after the United States won the war against Persia, well, Iran, as well as Israel. They switched their government, and so now Iran is like a best buddy to the United States. But over here, Yemen is split into threes. The Houthi state, a Yemen state that really just wanted their independence, and the actual Yemen nation, which is how it is in real life, where Aden supports as the capital right now for the Houthis, not the Houthis. Actual Yemen, as the Houthis are over here within Sana'a. But yeah, that's really all to the Middle East. Now we come over here to the main Asian areas. As over here, North Korea was annexed to South Korea after North Korea had a power plant explode within Pyongyang, which killed 3 million people. They absolutely were destroyed as a South Korean regime took over and united with South Korea. Over here, Taiwan in the war only was able to annex this, but China was very much split up. There was a Tibet state here, a Xinjiang, there was a Manchuria, there was also a South state here, which all united to reform China, just very much weaker, and only has a military of about 29,000 people. Not other much changes, except for Jakarta no longer exists as a huge tsunami hit this area, flooding the area, and that is why Indonesia moved their capital to Borneo. But yeah, I think that's most and everything of the border changes. Now, I will be going into more of a deeper dive of how everything did, but we have to get into today's scenario, which, of course, we saw the nations of the Make the World Great project went into World War III, and their project was halted, and yeah, as you know, they declared war on the southern German state. So now, this southern German state is one of the scientists who was a part of the Make the World Great project was, very much rebellious. Eventually, after World War III, about 2 years after World War III ended, we see he went back to his home state of Bavaria and formed the Southern German Republic, with all of the secrets to the Make the World Great project. Russia and China immediately jumped in on this right after Chinese unification. We saw that these guys allied themselves to this as these guys became communist. We see, we could get straight into today's video, which will actually be starting off here, as Germany would declare war on their southern counterpart. Within the process from 2026 to 2042, 3 new nations joined in on Make the World Great project. Those nations include Israel, Iran, and Spain. These guys will also all declare war on the nation of South Germany. And Russia and China will secretly start supporting that southern... Oh. I really hate this sometimes, as the borders never get fixed, and it's stupid sometimes. But yeah, Russia and... I forgot to give Kaliningrad. I'll do that later. I'm too lazy to do it right now. But yeah, Russia and China will start to secretly support them. As, you know, secretly, as they can, as it's very hard to do it secretly, as these two are very hated, and, you know, there's spies in their nation. But over here, we will see that the French invasion will go ahead and happen. The French will quickly, with the help of the Germans, capture that area right there. Will also push into this area across the Rhine. Over here, the Germans, well, the North German, I'll just call them Germany, because this is the People's Republic of Germany. I'll call them the PRG. But over here, we do see these guys are pretty strong. So they are able to invade out to this area, capturing the city of Bonn, which is not good for the Germans. It's also, Germany's new most populous city is not Berlin. It is now Hamburg. If Germany was united, it would be Munich. Munich has a population of about 10 million now. One of the most populous cities in the world, in the top 50. I'm just kidding, within the top 20. But yeah, as of now, the world's population went from 8 billion to 11.2 billion. Now, how is that possible? The world is supposed to hit, in real life, a population of 11.2 billion in a very long time, around 2100. But the thing is, after China's collapse, we see people in China started having more kids because the communist regime fell. North Korea had a population, secretly, of like 20 million, which I'm pretty sure that's what they have in real life, but like 20 million more than they thought. And yeah, they just did more everything, and people started having more kids and stuff, and we also see people started living for longer, as now the age people start living to on average is now 93 around the world. But yeah, the world has started to do this, and getting back to the main video, we do see a nation has joined in on the side of these guys, of South Germany. And that is none other than their ally of Serbia. Serbia did not join World War III. Anyways, being supported by Russia, we see they just didn't join. Same goes for Bosnia, Montenegro, Kosovo, and North Macedonia. They did not join in on World War III. But over here, to take advantage of this, Romania does declare war on only Serbia. And yeah, we'll just color them a different color. As over here, Romanian forces will go ahead and invade over here. Now, why would Romania do this? The only reason why Romania is mainly doing this is because they have a huge border dispute. Serbia claims a lot of territory over here, and the Romanians, I am going insane. But yeah, the Romanians decided to take advantage of it by invading into Serbia. Also, just for complete fun, let's take a look at the top 25 military powers. Also, within World War III, there were a lot of nuclear bombs used. But over here, number 1 is none other than the United States. Number 2 now is actually a very surprising nation. France has come out as number 2 in the world. France has been gaining up on military to the United States. But the United States, it's... Here, we'll do it like this. We won't put it on the actual country. But over here, it is the USA. And then there is some sort of a drop. And then it goes to France. And then there is another drop here, which goes to not South Korea. Korea. And then it will immediately go to the UK. Number 5 is Japan. Sorry, I'm looking at my keyboard, so I'm not going to be looking at that, as I'm also looking at that screen to make sure I'm typing stuff right. I'll kind of just be talking and not staring at the camera. Japan, and then there is another drop over here. As number 6 goes to India. Number 7 is now Poland. Number 8 is Italy. Leaving now number 9 to go in and go to Brazil. Number 10 is Spain. Number 11 is Morocco. Number 12 is Israel. 13 is Germany. And then there is another pretty small drop. We go to number 14 being, that is a comma, Egypt. Number 15 is the East African Federation, or the EAF. Number 12 is Argentina. Number 17 is Australia. 18 is Taiwan. 19 is Ukraine. That is not 19. That is 18. Number 20, we'll go ahead and go over to South Africa. 21, that is Canada. And then there is another pretty small drop here where we will go to 22, which is the nation of Mexico. 23. Now, if we take a look at the world, there's really no other very strong countries. That's right. Persia's back to Persia, guys, as I said. Number 24 is... Did I ever have... Okay, I did put Japan. I did double check that. Greece. And number 25 is Turkey. But yeah, that is the top 25 world rankings. As you can see, Russia and China are nowhere in the top 10. Or even 25. Even 50. These two have completely fallen off. But over here, finally, we will also see Korea will declare war on them. And then Taiwan will as well. Now we do see, during this, we see another war will go ahead and break out. This war is going to be between the two Congolese nations. The two Congolese nations. It is going to be a little bit darker. But over here, they have a huge border dispute over in this area right here, where both of them claim a huge territory from each other. As over here, the DRC, eventually it has enough of it, and the DRC will go ahead and invade, capturing this major city in the process. They will meet up over here, and these guys, they're like, yeah, I'm also done with this. And they will invade out over here, pretty close to the capital region of Kinshasa. They also invade out over here, which is very much, you know, They're like, whoa, 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 whoa. They're getting very close to Kinshasa. And we could take a detour back to this. As over here, Austria has broken their neutrality. And eventually, Hungary will also join in on the war. And then, Romania will finally declare war on everyone else. So it sounds like they are done. As over here, we see Romania will invade out over here. As also, the world has had high tensions for a very long time now, especially between the new rising power of India and the United States. They have very high tensions. India in the world, as you can see, is number 6. The United States has also had very high tensions with Brazil and Argentina. As over here, World War III, World War IV, as everyone knows, could start at any moment now. As we see, that is prominent, with China and Russia joining in on the war, which will then see a whole wave of nations joining in. This includes Azerbaijan, Georgia, Chechnya, Ukraine, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Kaliningrad, Belarus, all of the Benelux nations, Denmark, Iceland, Norway, Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia and Singapore, as well as Brunei, the Philippines, Japan, Australia, and New Zealand. By the way, Australia, I did forget to mention, does have New Caledonia as territory now. Why is this always happening? South Africa, the East African Federation, Morocco, Nigeria, Mexico, and Central America. Those are all the nations joining in and declaring war on these guys. Over here, we do see a wave of nations will join in on their side. Also over here, I'm done with this. As these colors need to be flipped, as the DRC is allied to China. As nations joining on their side. Nations such as Angola, Madagascar, Mozambique, Myanmar, yes, that civil war is still not ended. Afghanistan, Mongolia, Kazakhstan, all of Central Asia. This will also include Pakistan, as well as nations such as Colombia will go ahead and side with them. So, in our modern day world, very weird seeing Colombia not join on the United States. Bolivia and Peru, Sudan, Ethiopia, Somalia, Syria, Libya, Chad, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Algeria. And then a new side will enter in on this war. This will be India's alliance. The subcontinent of India has been allied for a while now, and as I said, India is a rising world power. India joins in on the war, allying themselves with most of the nations over here, such as Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait, Jordan, Oman, the UAE, Qatar, South Yemen, Somaliland, and Djibouti, Laos and Cambodia, Indonesia and Timor-Leste, Brazil and Argentina, as well as Uruguay, Paraguay, and eventually Chile as well. And this will be the start. As yes, on on episode 1, we do see this is officially not what they would call a world war quite yet. To be a world war, the entire continent officially of Europe has to be involved for it to be called a world war nowadays, as well as the entire continent of North America. And so they would really just call this a Great War. And this is going to be known as the Great War of the Empires. As finally, someone within North America, within the city of Raleigh here, will say, hey, most of the world's involved. I'm going to call this World War IV. And he publishes a book called The Start of World War IV, which is basically him writing for 4 years about what could happen in the world if a World War IV started, and rising tensions and stuff. And the world starts to pick up on that, and eventually they call this war World War IV, the War of the Great Empires. As over here with Belgrade being captured and the surrender of Serbia, we will see that over here, like I said, NATO is much smaller, as the Balkans work together and will declare war on Romania. Romania has been a huge power over here, as Romania will invade over here into Bulgaria, as well as over here, as Romania was going to invade into like Kosovo and that stuff. With the invasion of Kosovo and North Macedonia, we will see Serbia is going to be pelted by forces down in the south. Over here, we do see that these guys link up over here, capturing these cities over here being Essen, Dusseldorf, and I can't remember the last one. But over here, we do see that the Italians will go ahead and invade into Austria over here, as well as Slovenia. But over here, we come to Asia. Taiwanese forces were already prepared for this, as over here, Taiwanese forces will go ahead and invade out to everywhere where they own territory. As these are all the areas where they own territory. They will quickly capture the coasts over here, and over here, Korea invades out along the border over here. As yes, now China is not that strong. China just has terrain, and China's huge. But over here, India will also go and invade out along their border, invading into Pakistan, which Pakistan is not that strong anymore. Pakistan is number like 38 in the world, I would say, as they are able to capture Karachi, which is very devastating for them. And over here, we also see the Punjab state is getting destroyed, as eventually Rawalpindi is captured and Islamabad is basically surrounded. Over here, India will make their invasion into these areas over here, as well as into these areas. As over here, Bangladesh will invade out. Same goes for India within this area. As over here, we start to see the fall of Syria, as Syria made the wrong decision, it looks like, as Turkey also invades out, as Turkish forces were already planned to invade over here. As we also see Red Team forces invade straight into Iraq, mainly their goal trying to capture major cities over here. The Egyptians and the Israelis also invade out over here, capturing Amman. As over here, the southern Germans will see the southern Germans, their leader is the scientist. As that scientist is a very dictatorial person. He very much wants to... It's basically... Think of it like this. Vladimir Putin right now, that's basically him. So, the Greeks will also invade out over here, meeting up with Romanian forces, splitting off Bulgaria. As eventually, this group over here in Bulgaria will go ahead and fall. As over here, we also see the capturing of Montenegro. So we start to see the fall of the Balkans. But now we come over here. American soldiers will invade out over here into Colombia's territory that they own within Venezuela. As over here, we also see this invasion over here, which is not able to capture Maputo. Over here, the East African Federation will invade over here. As well as the East African Federation invades out over here, capturing the city of Goma, which was heavily bombed in World War III by Kenya. These guys will also capture this. As you know, the Congo is very much can compete with the DRC, but cannot compete with Angola, as Angolese forces will absolutely destroy the Congolese within the south. And, the capturing of their capital, which will leave it to them moving right here, and then leading to them pushing back their forces over here. These guys are able to invade into Chad, as well as Burkina Faso. And an invasion into Algeria. As now, we see two final events in today's video. As we see with the capturing of Ashgabat, we see over here, America has an expedition. This expedition will go ahead and go down south, go ahead and stop right here at this coast. It'll go ahead and come more over here, down this coast, and we'll go ahead and we'll have many ships along the coast of Brazil. And over here, the Americans go ahead and launch bombs. We are going to change this color just a little bit. No, we'll change it to like dark green. Yeah. As over here, the Americans, when they meet up over here, will go ahead and do it. On Salvador, a huge light is seen falling from the sky. It will land. The first nuclear bomb has been used in the war, as America will also, over here, use a hydrogen bomb on these cities here, destroying Brazil's coast, which Brazil, now, they do have nuclear bombs. 5 of them, to be exact. As over here, they will fire at these ships, hitting all of the ships, which will even lead to one of the ships exploding into something greater. One of the ships had 6 nuclear bombs. It will explode, causing a huge explosion over here, and will go ahead and flood the coast of Brazil. I'm pressing the wrong button, though. It will go ahead and flood this entire area of Brazil. Brazil loses like 8 million people just because of this. And the Brazilians realize how bad that is. That is 8 million people down. As we see, the war has ramped up. This is no longer a war to protect peoples. This is a war of mass destruction. This is a war that will cause even greater things for the world. And that will be it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure you like and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.